I will throw your Frisbee for you when we are done with this. We're going to talk about huckleberries. Let's talk about huckleberries. You can do this. We're going to talk about huckleberries. Okay, let's talk about huckleberries. So I wanted to make huckleberry cake from one of my favorite cookbooks, published. This copy is printed in 1871, Marion Harland's Common Sense in the Household. I love Marion Harland. And so it really got me thinking. When I first started baking 1800s recipes, I would come across these recipes for huckleberry cake and huckleberry pudding and huckleberry everything, but you never see recipes for blueberry anything. And why is that? Were huckleberries just like the wild blueberries? Are they the same thing as modern blueberries? What's the deal? And so I ordered this amazing book from the 1860s, Andrew Fuller's The Small Fruit Culturalist. And one of the reasons I really wanted to read this was specifically for his section on huckleberries. And I want to read you some excerpts from it. It's so fascinating to me. Now, I'm really going to need you to not knock that over again, okay? Because we've recorded this like 7 times. All right. Nah. Down. Yeah. Good girl. Love you. Okay. Chapter 10. Huckleberries are all the way toward the back, which is so fascinating to me, and behind currants and gooseberries and all the things. Huckleberries were formerly all included under the genus Vaccinium, but botanists now separate them into the genera Galusacea, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, and Vaccinium. In general appearance, they resemble one another, being branching shrubs with bell-shaped or urn-shaped corollas and 2-part anthers. The fruit is a 10 to many seeded berry, and it goes on. And here's the interesting thing. It then starts to list out a whole bunch of these different huckleberry varieties, and V. corymbosum is listed as swamp blueberry or highbush huckleberry. Okay. If you go to order blueberry bushes these days, like Duke or Patriot or Blue Crop or any of these popular blueberry bushes, you're going to see they're all, their scientific name that they'll have listed, if it's a good site and it's telling you what things are, is V. corymbosum, your highbush blueberry. So fascinating. And here they are referred to under the heading of huckleberries. Everything's a huckleberry. Dwarf wild blueberries, the highbush blueberries, these are huckleberries. But what I really want to read you is the section toward the end of this, which I think is totally fascinating. Anyway, so that kind of settled my mind on, okay, when I see a huckleberry recipe, I'm going to go ahead and use blueberries. And I'm probably just going to go ahead and use them right out of my blueberry patch. And because it was the highbush blueberries, I feel okay, even though these are a modern cultivar. I feel okay using those instead of really specifically choosing the low bush wild blueberries. Feeling okay about that. Some recipes I do think are still just amazing with wild blueberries, but this kind of settled my mind on the point a little bit more. But I want to read you this section. I think it's really cool. Okay. The huckleberry is one of those fruits which have always been neglected. None of our horticultural writers have deemed it worthy of any particular description, and but very few have thought it worthy of mention. Why this neglect, I am at loss to understand. For the huckleberry possesses naturally better qualities than even the currant and gooseberry. All of our northern species are perfectly hardy, producing no thorns, which is such a disagreeable feature with many of our small fruits. And the plants are generally quite productive. The berries are more firm than the raspberry, blackberry, or strawberry, consequently will bear carriage well and are suitable for market. Thousands of bushels are annually gathered from the woods and fields, but these sources of supply will not always be available. Besides, we should not be content with depending wholly upon nature for either the necessities or the luxuries of life, while a helping hand would not only increase the quantity, but improve the quality. Man ahead of his time, Andrew Fuller, everybody. And here we are sitting in Maine, Wild Bush Blueberry capital. Here we are sitting in Maine in the middle of a blueberry field. And here's the interesting thing. We're about to make a recipe from a cookbook printed in 1871. And you'll want to know what happened in 1871. Elizabeth Coleman White was born. And Elizabeth Coleman White was this amazing person who was born to a family with a huge cranberry. You're going to knock this over on me, darling. With a huge cranberry farm. And she pretty early on got fascinated with blueberries and wanted to start this blueberry breeding project. She had the idea that if they could branch out into blueberries and cultivate better and better varieties, that then they would have a berry crop that could go to market before their cranberries, and they would be able to hire their laborers for a longer season. And so what it took was her partnering with a botanist who graduated from Cornell University, a man, just gonna say. And it took this partnership to convince her father to dedicate part of the farm and funds to this blueberry breeding project. And she was absolutely a huge driving force in it. If you look back at her notes and everything that she put into this, this was her amazing project that she was just at the heart and soul of. And so what she did was she hired local people who knew where all the best wild bushes were to go out, and every time they could find a blueberry bush that had berries 5/8 of an inch or bigger. And think about how big 5/8 of an inch is. I mean, we're talking modern blueberry size here. She would pay them basically the equivalent of $30 to $100 these days for finding her these bushes, and she'd tag them. And they started with 120 bushes, chose the best two, took cuttings and started, I mean, hundreds of blueberry bushes off of this, narrowed that way down again. Don't quote me on this. I think it was to like 40 bushes. I'm going to footnote all of this because you should read about her yourself. It's so fascinating. And then from there, they took the berries and the seeds and they started this breeding project. And that really was this turning point in our modern high bush gorgeous blueberries that we so easily plant and grow here at our homesteads today. It was this absolute inflection point. And I think, oh my gosh, if Andrew Fuller could see what came of that, you heard in his writing, his vision for blueberries really are just this amazing missed opportunity. And if he could sit here right now in my blueberry patch with like 8 different varieties, 9 different varieties of blueberries that have such an extended season and they're absolutely gorgeous and delicious, I think you'd really smile. Anyway, so let's go make some 1871 huckleberry cake with blueberries that I grew here in so much part thanks to the work of a woman who was born in 1871, had this vision and made it happen and dedicated decades and decades of her life to cultivating our beautiful modern high bush blueberries. Don't we love this stuff? Let's go make some blueberry cake. That'll be another video. Thanks for talking about huckleberries with me.